Hey y'all, and welcome back. Sorry, it was a busy week last week, so I didn't get as many videos up, but we got the garden planted. Today we're going to be going through and getting our next set of seedlings started, and I wanted to show y'all how we organize our seeds. So we found this neat organizing trick, I guess you could consider it, on Facebook. You use a photo organizer and put your different varieties of seeds in each of the little packets. I do mine in alphabetical order and just put a little label on there so I can keep them well organized. Heaven forbid if you're like me and have kids or, accidents happen, your seeds may spill, but at least you know what variety they are and you have them well labeled so you're not completely at a loss on them. Today we're going to be starting things like cucumbers, watermelon, pumpkin, squash, those type items. Again, we start ours inside, a lot of them inside, so that we can transplant them and get a better use of our growing season. You can also direct sow these here in a couple weeks. We just want to get a head start on them, so as we're pulling other stuff out of the garden, I can pop these in the ground and get going. So let's get started. All right, guys, we are out here getting our plants ready to start. I've lined up all the different types of seeds we're going to be starting. We've got 2 different types of watermelons, some honeydew melons, 2 different pumpkins, 2 different types of squash we're going to be doing, and 2 different types of pickles. As you're picking different varieties, one of the nice things about starting your own seedlings is you can try just about any variety. If you're sticking with store-bought, you kind of are limited to, you are limited to whatever that nursery grows. So that's something to keep in mind. That's partly why I've started my own. I'm only a couple years into doing my own seedlings, so I'm currently using a store-bought Fox Farm potting soil mix to start mine. It's worked really well the past year that I've used it, so I'll probably be sticking with that until I can get my own resources going so I can mix my own potting soil up. Sometimes you just can't take everything on at once, and that's been one of those things this year that I just haven't had the time to do myself. So I've gone with the store-bought, but in terms of seed varieties, some things to consider, like with squash, there's a lot of different types. Even with like the summer squash here, there are 2 different types. There's the crooked neck, and I just consider the other type plain. I'm sure it has a technical name for it, but you need to consider that when you're buying them. Cucumbers especially, that's extremely important. The 2 different types I've got are for pickling. You can still eat them fresh, but most of them do best if they're pickled. There are different types of cucumbers, though, that do better for fresh eating and for salads. We've been pleased with these in both fresh eating and for pickling. Now this type, it's a French type of cucumber. It's a type of gherkin, really. This is the first time I've tried these, so I don't know for fresh eating or in those ones, but the Boston pickling ones, they've done really well as both pickles and as fresh or in salads and that type thing. I would recommend just trying different varieties. That goes for anything you're doing in your garden. You really won't know if you like it or not until you try it. We try lots of different types of lettuces, corn, squash, pumpkins, you name it. There are so many different varieties out there. Have fun picking some of them and just give it a try and see how they do. Different ones may do better in your area. If you don't have raised beds or garden space for some of these, they actually do really great on manure piles, compost piles, especially things like pumpkins and squash, cucumbers as well. They do really great on just a little pile. You can even do it in your yard if you just do one little bag or half a bag and a little bit of manure or something like that in a pile. They will grow really great just right there for you. So don't be concerned if you don't have an official space for them. I've done them along the edges of fields, behind the cow's pen. They've done really well over there. I typically don't put them in my garden beds because they do take up a lot of space. Vining plants like that, loofahs, any of those type gourds, they really can take over some garden space. And they do like to climb like loofahs and gourds do. If you have trellises set up, that's a great way to save space. We're still setting up our garden, so I don't have all that in place yet. We're kind of still stuck to doing them on the ground until I get some of those things set up. But have fun with it. And I did want to talk about seed packets with y'all. So something you should know about seed packets is everything are in the back. This is where really all the information you need to know about planting is. It tells you if you're getting from Baker's Creek at least, it tells you, I'll see if it'll zoom it in here. Well, so most of you have probably seen the back of a seed packet. In case you haven't, it tells you really all sorts of different information about the plant that you're looking at. For this, it's a squash. It tells you how many days it takes to sprout, the temperature it needs to stay at. If you don't have a greenhouse or grow lights, anything like that, you can actually start these right now. You just need to be careful when you set them outside. A sunny window is great for them, but if you're able to bring them outside on days like today where it's mid-70s and those plants are well within the 70 to 95 degrees that they need to be in, it helps acclimate them to the wind and direct sunlight. Makes it a little bit easier for when you're transplanting them. It also tells you how deep to plant these, the spacing for them. If you're starting them like I am, that isn't really important until you transplant. Whether it's frost hardy, which none of these things we're planting today are, how much sun they need, and I add, for whatever reason, Baker's Creek doesn't include it on their packets, but I add how many days to maturity. So for these, it's 90 to 100. It's probably hard to see, that's in pencil there, but also gives you just some interesting information about the variety you've chosen. Again, try some different varieties. This isn't something you would normally see at the store or at any of your garden centers, but it can be fun to try them. And who knows, you might find some that you really like. I know for us, most of the varieties we really like have not been ones you find at the nursery.
Good night and good night.
Good job, Lizzie. Do you want to open the cucumbers?
Yep.
Now those are going to go into these holes right here. You see those?
How many of them?
We're going to do 2 in each hole.
Oh yeah, did them.
Good job. Can you start these ones, Jenny? We're going to open them, and again, 2 in each hole.
And I'm doing each.
Yep, 2 in each.
Yep.
Lance, you want to
eat.
open these ones?
I want to help.
Okay, you can help put them in the hole. All right, and 2 in each hole, Lizzie.
Oh, for just this one tray?
On those 2 trays.
Daddy, why are you 2 in each hole?
Yep, 2 in each of these.
1, 2.
Alright, so we've got all of our seeds started. We've got 1 left here. I need to get some zucchinis so we can start those. And everything else is ready. So we're going to water these down and get them in the sun so they can start going. Now, at this stage, they actually don't need direct sunlight. I'll probably just water them and leave them right here. But as the seed starts to come up and sprout and the first set of leaves comes out, that is really when it has to have sunlight.